I went into ArchViz now, so. But again, like I said, I still keep my hand in games by doing assets for a game studio here. And that was basically because I wanted to get more into photogrammetry, doing that sort of work. And the studio I work for now, the ArchViz studio, because we work with a lot of heritage buildings, period buildings, photogrammetry comes in really handy to get really accurate models of the buildings we're working with. That and the fact that we do stuff for a mining company as well, so photogrammetry is used a bit there. All right, but that's really cool to hear. Yeah, really cool. So we brought in the top windows. Let's look at the base windows here now. Again, we'll jump back into Max. And pay no attention to the messed up UVs here. That's when we did the re-UVing of the model. Let's bring in, actually, I think what we might start with is, I'm just looking at, we have these wooden pieces that sit above the windows, and we have them also above the doors. What it may be better for me to do is to bring in, because I think the sizes of them are all pretty much the same. Yeah, pretty much. I may bring those in first before we actually tackle the windows and the doors. Or one of them in, because we only need one. We're going to be duplicating it, so I think I'll start by detaching that. We'll call this front bottom window, and I have my caps lock on. Great. Front bottom window. Now that's part of the one window frame. Now I could export it like that and use that around the building, but then I'd have to re-export just one of those wooden arched pieces, and it's a bit more inefficient doing it that way. So it looks like I've actually grabbed part of the back of the model as well. So I'm going to go into isolation mode. I'm just going to detach that bit at the back we don't want. So we have the top and the bottom of the window, but I want to separate this top arch so that we can reuse it again and again. So I think what I'm going to do is select the bottom of the window and detach it. And we'll call this one window arch, I think. We'll call it wooden arch. I think that's easier. And this one is still called front bottom window. I'll just get rid of the B now. And again, I'm going to do an unwrap on this just so that we can take it into substance. Now before I do anything, I'm going to do a reset on the axes and a reset on the X form, and I'm going to flip the normals and unify them. Okay, let's export it. Front bottom window. And we'll do the same at the top. window arch. Okay, let's pull them into Substance Painter. There were some fences because I want to bring the fences in it shortly as well. And that way we can finish doing the landscaping for outside the building before we start tackling the interior objects. So that's why I'm in my fences at the moment, because I was playing around creating a smart material and substance for our fences over the weekend. And this is going to be side top window. And let's bring in our front bottom window. We'll start with that one. We're going to remember now to do the bake. I'm going to pull in my smart material again. I'm just looking through here. It may be easier for me to select instead of going through the sub menu up here. Going to remove the unused layer from the top. Again, I'm using a generator here just to remove some of the paint on the edges of the window wooden frames themselves, just to give it a bit more of a worn look. Okay, we've baked our textures, we've done our normals. Just before we do an export, I want to rename our material here. Again, I'm just going to use the name we've got for our export. Again, we're going to make it 1K, which should be plenty. Let's save our project. And create a new project for those art pieces. Bring in our window texture. I'll rename our material to wooden arch. I really wish it would remember my last folder. Again, 1K is plenty. We could go higher on the bottom windows because the camera will be flying by them, but I still think 1K is probably fine. Let's save our project. just in case I decide I want to come back, and if I do want to make them 2K textures, I can just load up the project and re-export the texture. Jump back into Unreal. So we want front, bottom windows. That's the texture there that I want to replace. So we want the color map, the metallic, the ambient occlusion. I'm not going to pull in the normal maps, but I'll pull in the roughness. I do want to make sure that the roughness map though has been changed from sRGB. It's metallic. This should be the roughness. Yep. We can get rid of that one. Save out. Now why you give me compilation errors? Base color, metallic, roughness, and ambient occlusion. Seems to be fine now. It's just a bit slow to update, I think. Let's find that, maybe not. Base color, metallic, roughness, ambient occlusion. Going to turn that back on temporarily to see if it makes any difference to it. Generally, if there's an error with something, you'll get a red check mark to tell you that there's a problem. I'm not seeing it here. And feature level SM5. The metallic is really only a black texture map. I could probably use a constant there anyway. Again, it's not metallic because it's wood. That's very strange. I may just rename the material for a minute. just in case it's a memory problem with, because that material name was the same previously, so it may be stored in memory somewhere, but we'll find out. What are we calling this? Bottom, we'll call it bottom square window underscore map to material. I'm just finding it odd that we're not seeing our roughness material here. Let's just remove it for a minute. I want to save that. See, that there's a problem with our roughness map. So front bottom window roughness. You see how we can see our roughness material now and we couldn't before? It may have just been a problem with the import initially, because you see it's saving our material fine now, so I'm just going to chalk that up to maybe a bug in the new version of the engine occasionally. Okay. Which happens, you know, these are very complicated pieces of software, so you have to forgive Epic for having a problem occasionally here and there. Let's pull that in. Now again, these see-through parts of the interior here that you can see, I don't know if you can see it too clearly, but here for instance, that's because I've removed polygons from the opposite facing side just to reduce the poly count a bit. The same with the building brickwork, if you remember, I removed the back facing polys, so all of that will be covered up when we actually place the borders inside the window frame. So no point adding polys in there if we're never going to see them. Let's scale it up. Maybe just a little bit more. And need just a little bit more rotation. Okay, let's pull in our window glass. I've been importing into my blueprints folder. I'll have to move them back into my meshes. I didn't realize I was still in my blueprints folder. That's okay, we can move it out later. I was wondering where my window glass went to. There we go. Let's make a duplicate of that and start bringing them around to the sides. Actually, let's create a blueprint first. Front bottom window underscore prefab. Now we can duplicate it. I may just jump straight to the back and then we'll work on the sides. So. We're going to rotate it 180 degrees as well. Alright. Let's grab those square windows. I think they're the same for the sides. I'm just going to jump into max quickly and have a look. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. We can reuse them again for the side of the building. Rotate it around. I think we're just going to have to scale them a bit because I think these ones at the front are a little bit bigger than the ones on the side. Oh, I may be wrong. Just duplicate it again. Rotate it around just a little bit. Alright. Let's do the two on the other side. It needs to be rotated just a bit more. Again, I have the snapping and everything turned up here just because, while they can be really helpful, on a building that I've actually rotated to a really funny off angle, it's going to make it a bit more difficult for me if I have them switched on. Let's do one more duplicate. Now I am pulling this forward in front of the actual wall of the building because remember we have to put our arched wooden piece on top, and I have to pull that forward in front of the texture here, so I'm pulling these window frames a bit forward as well so that they sit underneath of the arch at the top when we place it. Do I back, didn't I? Yes. Alright, let's bring in that archway now, the arch top pieces. Make sure I'm in my models folder. Wooden arch is the one we want. I think it's this material. I could be wrong. No, it's not that one. Let me rename this before I get. This is side window. Side window top. Side window top underscore map. I'm just looking for the texture it created for that. Okay, side window top. Why is that? What's the wrong texture? So let's import the texture maps for that to begin with. So we want the color, metallic, and the ambient occlusion and the roughness. No. Am I importing the wrong texture here? Wooden arch, I am, okay. We want wooden arch color. metallic, ambient occlusion, and roughness. We'll create a new material. We'll call it wooden arch. Again, I'm just going to turn off sRGB on the roughness map. I'm gonna have that problem again. Here we are. Okay. I think what is causing that is I'm changing the. No, that shouldn't have been a problem. I was going to say I'm changing the sRGB value on the texture after I pull it into the shader, but I don't think that's the problem. Although it seems to be fine once I do delete it and re-import it again, so I don't know. Again, maybe it's a bug in the engine at the moment. Okay. Let's swap out our correct texture here. There we go. And I'm going to start at the front and work my way around. Let's pull in the wooden arch. Now I could have removed the texture from the background here because basically the arch is mimicking that texture. I left it in just, well, it doesn't hurt to have it there. I could have made it just all green in the background or a darker shade of green if I wanted to do it that way, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to have it in anyway. Okay, let's scale it up. May have made it a bit big, I think. Oh, maybe not. And I'm actually going to pull it forward a little bit in front of the actual window frame below it. Just to give the just to give it a bit more depth. Not too far forward though. Let's duplicate it again.
Just give me one chance.
Our actual door frames are going to go up quite high. Again, I'm just looking at the mesh we've got here, and this one may actually be a little bit different to the shape of the ones that we're using, so I may have to re-export that as separate archways, because they're a little bit, the shape of them is a little different to the window frame, so I may just move this for the moment, leave the ones above the door just for the moment until we get the doors in themselves, and then I can look at it. Because I do think that the shape of them is a little different. So we'll just concentrate on doing the windows at the moment. Could be the same through the side here. I think these are a little smaller than the front. We do have a slight gap between the top of the arch and the top of the window frame as well. So I think I'll leave it like that. I could scale it up in the Z direction to meet it, but I think we'll leave that little gap there.